So Ray Warren was an alum of Lewis and Clark, and he also, after he graduated, he came back and he worked in admissions as well as being the director of ethnic student services. And he passed away in 2004 from a long 7-year battle with cancer. And you know, students came together and created this symposium in his memory, so that his story, as well as his commitment to diversity, promoting multiculturalism on campus, as well as like reaching out to anyone and everyone who would come by his office, would never be forgotten.
And I think it's just like one of those, it's a unique opportunity that we have on campus to like talk about these issues, and you have students from campus and people from the community who like share their experiences, and I think that's why it's also very meaningful for everyone.
Race Monologues has helped to educate folks and be more aware of who's on campus and what students are experiencing on campus.
I volunteered to do a race monologue because I feel like a lot of Latinos and also just people of color overall experience the same problems growing up in American society that I have, and I feel like this is more for them than it is for me, because I already know how I feel, and I already know how, I think I pretty much know how other people would react to how I feel. But I think that the problem is that a lot of Latinos and Black people and people who are in subcultures of some sort have a lot of things they want to talk about but are too afraid of talking about because they've been told that it's un-American or that it's nobody will really care or really want to listen to them. So it's just a way of saying that, you know, these people do exist, and that if anybody hears me and really can relate to what I'm saying, then it's a good way to communicate.
My freshman year and sophomore year, I just experienced culture shock. I experienced, being away from home, and the feeling of being embarrassed. Sometimes when people say blah blah blah, where's your American spirit? I don't have that. I mean, where's your pride for your country? This is not my country. So it's just the fact that I'm the only Filipino guy on campus. I should represent myself. Some people on campus live in two worlds, and the only reason that they live in those two worlds is because of education. I mean, I wouldn't be familiar with Western culture if it wasn't for education, and I wouldn't love my country if it wasn't for education. So I'm still here, even if I'm here in the U.S. I'm still trying to bring the two worlds together and trying to make one, and finding the whole identity to myself.
My whole life I felt like I'm not American until recently when I realized that no, what an American is up to me, and it's up to me to define what being American is.
There's just so many creative ways in which folks present their monologues, and each year it's different. There are individual pieces as well as a group piece that ties everything together. And each year I've had a lot of fun being a part of the process. This would be a good place to exchange ideas, like something that you've been thinking about. Bouncing ideas off folks would be great.
All right. When I was in second grade, a kid asked me why my skin was so white. And I was embarrassed, and I quickly answered that it wasn't really white. It was actually brown, like everyone else's. But due to an unfortunate painting accident, in which a large bucket of white paint was spilled all over me, I was stained white forever. My freckles were actually my real skin, the spots where the brown came through and the white didn't hit. By fourth grade, the other kids were a bit too sharp for this story, and so they decided that since I really was white, they wouldn't be friends with me for a week. I had one ally who defended me by reasoning that white people are okay because white people have gone to the moon. But I guess that was not an impressive enough feat to beat childhood racism. I gotta fix that. It's hard to say.
Growing up in mostly white suburbs, because we had moved out of San Francisco, I told the little kids that the reason I was actually white and the reason my skin was brown was because I had gotten sunburned really badly. And they're like, my skin was just really tanned, and so that's why I was actually white, but it just looked dark. And I think I actually convinced myself of that, which was really weird. Like, I think I actually kind of convinced myself that because I told my parents. My parents were like terrified by this. They realized, whoa, what's going on? What's happening to our child?
My mom was trying to keep me lighter by rubbing stone.
Rubbing a stone?
Yeah, like there's a
Pumice, right?
yeah.
I used to think that I had a claim to an opinion that, like thinking that racist jokes were okay because I'm multiracial. Like, I'm half Asian, I'm half white. Like, it's fine. I don't feel bad about it. But kind of after like really thinking about it, I've started to realize like I'm not part of any oppressed group, and so I've never really felt the issues that people are actually talking about when they talk about race. And I've learned that since then, that it's not about being multiracial, or it's not about being two different things. It's about one or all of your things being oppressed groups.
It's interesting because when I came here, I went to one of the events, and I felt like I came here to this community and like never felt like we didn't have like that communication. We like felt like not even in my classes we were bringing up issues of race and ethnicity and like what does that mean and how does that affect our relationships and what are we doing about that, and like the symposium is just like it's the best way to address that for the community, and you do it from like a perspective, from like a personal perspective because you have students talking about that. You also from like an academic perspective because we bring professors and other like specialists who talk about that, and also like from a community perspective, right? Because entire community is being part of that, and we're looking for different answers, and I think that's why it's like it really means a lot to me because of that.
What's so great about the symposium is that even though it's only 3 days long, you can hear the conversations continuing afterwards. And not only, like Brenda mentioned, do you get a scholarly perspective, but you get to hear from students and folks within the community and folks who are doing community work around these areas and find out how to get involved.